Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are back with part 2 of Barcelona Keep or Sell, end of the season edition. We did part 1 of this series back in mid or early January when Barca were going through their worst stretch of the season. And now obviously we have to come back with a part 2 because a lot has changed since then for my channel and for Barcelona. Since that video, I think I've gained like 7k subs or even more than that. I mean, which is fucking insane. So a lot of you guys that are new here didn't get to watch that video. If you did not watch that video, by the way, and you want to go back and watch it, I'll leave a link to in the description down below. But also, Barca changed a lot since January. We went through like a really good stretch, and then we went back to being shit. And yeah, man, I have a lot of opinions today. I cannot wait to make this video until the season was over. Because to be honest with you guys, one meaningless game against Sevilla, in the last match week of the season, is not going to change my opinion on any of these guys. I've had my opinion set on these guys for the past couple weeks, and I just wanted to make this video so I could just get all my thoughts and feelings about them off my chest. I just cannot wait to do it. And yeah, man, I picked every player here who's basically been part of the Barca first team throughout the whole year. Obviously, Kubarsi came in later, but still, he's been playing starter minutes since January. I didn't bother adding guys like Hector Ford or Marc Guiu, who have been kind of up and down from Barca B and the first team. I just added the guys who have been just basically for the most part on the first team. And yeah, man, today I'm going to tell you guys whether I want to keep them, whether I want to sell them. Pretty self-explanatory. And if you guys agree or disagree, please let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, man, I cannot wait to get into this. Let's start. The first player we have here is Andreas Christensen, who to me is gonna go and keep, of course. You could argue Christensen has been our most consistent player over the past 2 years since he got to Barca. This guy is the beacon of consistency. He's an amazing center back, and we saw this year, if you put him at CDM, he could do a job there as well. Our season changed the moment Xavi put Christensen at CDM. Yes, in possession, he's not really that involved, but out of possession, he provided so much cover for Barca that we didn't have before. I mean, he's an amazing player, an amazing player. I fucking love Andreas Christensen. The fact that we brought this guy on a free is insane. And against PSG, bro, obviously scored that goal in the second leg to put us up 3-2. And I think the biggest thing, like what really affected Barca was obviously Araujo getting sent off in the second leg. But Christensen not being able to play that second leg really fucked Barca over. Because I think even if Araujo gets sent off in that second leg, if Christensen is in that game, Barca can still win. But without Christensen and without Araujo, Barca were just left too exposed as we saw. But I love Christensen, dude. I adore this guy. I think he's such a great player. And, he's the perfect backup option to have. Barca have really good center backs, in my opinion. Obviously, Koundé can play center back. He prefers to play center back. You have Araujo, you have Kubarsi now, you have Inigo Martinez, who can do a job as well, and you have Christensen. And I think this guy is he should be a starter. Like, he would be a starter for most teams in the world. It just so happens that Barca have really good center backs, and the emergence of Pau Kubarsi has kind of pushed him to a point where he has to play CDM. But still, bro, I mean, this guy, next season, if you start Kubarsi or Christensen next to Araujo, I don't care which one it is, I'll feel equally as comfortable with both, because I think that both are great players. But like I said, Christensen is just a fantastic player, a great player, one of the most underrated and best center backs in world football, in my opinion. And like I said, has been extremely consistent for us over the past 2 years. Or like I said, arguably our most consistent player. So for me, no reason why you should ever look to sell Andreas Christensen, no matter how. Like, if you can get 120 million for him, sure. But I mean, if there's no reason to sell him for less than 100 million, in my opinion, because again, you need him, and he's a really, really good player, and he never complains. He's always he does what he's supposed to do, and I don't really see Christensen have bad games. When was the last time you saw Christensen playing? You thought, oh my god, he has such a bad game? It rarely ever happens. So for me, again, I'm gonna put him in keep. I think he's an amazing player. No reason why Barca should ever look to sell this guy. Like, it would be crazy. The next player we have here is Frenkie de Jong, one of the most polarizing Barca players at the moment, and for me, he's gonna go into keep. I'm a big fan of Frenkie de Jong. A huge fan of Frenkie de Jong. That might sound weird because Barca fans, most of them hate him for some reason. I don't know why. I think he's one of the best midfielders, or one of the best players, in world football. There's very few players like Frenkie de Jong in the world, and we as Barca fans should be happy that we have this guy on our team. And if you're going to sell Frenkie de Jong, you better bring in a guy who's comparable to him. And there's very few out there. Now, if you can get 120, 130 million, 150 million for Frenkie de Jong, sure. But to sell him for pennies on the dollar, for what, bro? Now, if you want to sell Frenkie de Jong and bring in Subimendi, sure. I'll be happy with that. But to sell Frenkie de Jong and your backup plan B, who? Guido Rodriguez? Fuck no, man. Frenkie de Jong is a progression monster. He's a machine. His ball carrying is arguably the best in Europe. He's an insanely good player. And I understand that sometimes defensively his awareness can be kind of like up and down. I get that, okay? But still, this guy's fantastic. He does more good than bad. And yes, sometimes in the big European games he disappears. Barca have been disappearing in big European games for the past decade. It's not Frenkie de Jong. It's a virus that's infected throughout the whole team, throughout the decades. It's been a decade at this point since Barca won a UCL. So for me, I'm not going to put that on Frenkie de Jong. I think that's a lazy argument to make. I think he's a great player. A fantastic, fantastic player. And he does so much good for Barca. He's so versatile. And he's, like I said, one of the best midfielders in the world. Any team would snatch up Frenkie de Jong today. Any team in the world would snatch him up today. And for me, the fact that Barca have him and he wants to be at Barca, again, I get his wages. Look, man, it's the elephant in the room is the wages for Frankie de Jong. I understand that. I'm not naive to the wages that he has because he makes more than basically every other player in Europe except Mbappe, which is crazy. Okay, he's a good player, but not that good. But if you can get, like, again, I get that. But still, when you have that talent, it's just, he's too talented to sell him. The next player we have here is Rafinha, who to me is going to go into keep. I'm a huge fan of Rafinha. One of the most polarized, along with Frankie de Jong, one of the most polarizing players at Barcelona right now. Some fans want to get rid of him. Some fans want to keep him. I'm in the camp that I want to keep Rafinha. I've been a big fan of him since he got here from Leeds. And I think this year he proved that he's at the level of Barcelona. I mean, he can play for Barca. He proved it this year, and he proves that he loves his team with his whole heart. Second half of the season, our most consistent and best attacker was either Lamine Yamal or it was Rafinha. And in the UCL, if we would have gone through against PSG, it would have been mostly because of this guy and what he did. Scoring, obviously, in the second leg, in the first leg twice, scored a brace at the Parc des Princes, scored a goal in the second leg that should have won us that game, and Torrejo got sent off. This is a guy who is so tenacious, man. He's always tracking back and forth. He's such a good player, in my opinion. Yes, his dribbling sometimes can be frustrating, but this guy, he has the capabilities, man. He showed it. He's as productive a winger as there is in world football. That's just a fact. It's not an opinion from me. It's a fact. Go look at the numbers. His goal and assist per 90 is as good as any player in the world. An output machine. Another 10 goal over 10 goals, 10 assists season again. Second year in a row. A machine, bro. I don't know why Barca fans hate this guy so much, why they try and downplay him so much. I think he's a fantastic player, and I think that he should be our starting left winger. Now, everybody thought that, by the way, everybody thought he couldn't play left wing. He's been doing an amazing job at left wing. So for me, he should be our starting left winger next season. Whether we bring in Nico Williams or not, I want Rafinha to start at left wing. And I think this guy is a fantastic player. No reason to sell Rafinha because he's that good. And yeah, to me, he's 100% going to go into keep. Next up, we have Jules Koundé, obviously going to go into keep. Koundé's been amazing this year. The fact that he didn't get nominated for La Liga Team of the Season is a crime, honestly. Because he had a dark period this season, like from up like when he got injured, when he came back, he had like a couple weeks where he wasn't really that good. But for the majority of the season, for like 95% of the season, he's been our best he's been our best defender. Sorry, because Kouarsi obviously came in January, he came in later. But like if you take into like from August to May, obviously if you take that the totality of the season into account, it's been Koundé, bro. He's fantastic, and obviously he can play center back, he can play right back. I think he's a better right back than center back, but he can do an amazing job at both. And, this guy shut down Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. this year. I watched him neutralize both of those guys. Both of them. Two of the best players, arguably the two best players in the world, and Koundé held his own against both of those guys, especially Mbappe. That is nothing to scoff at. The guy's amazing, bro. And last year he was amazing as well. And to me, he needs to stay at Barca. He needs to stay at Barca. He should be our starting right back going into next season. He's so good defensively. He can play out from the back. Like, yeah, sometimes his decision making is a little bit poor, but I think he's a fantastic player. A fantastic player. And yeah, man, to me, he's going to go into keep 100%. No reason why you should sell a talent like Jules Koundé when he's so young and he wants to be a Barca. I don't know why you would go about selling him, but yeah, to me, he's 100% going to go into keep. No debate about that. Next up, we have Ferran Torres. He, to me, is going to go into keep, I guess. Like, look, man, Ferran is a good option to have off the bench. But he's extremely inconsistent. I don't know, like this infatuation that some Barca fans or the Barca board or Xavi have with Ferran Torres and keeping him and they don't want to sell him, he's untransferable, is crazy to me. Ferran Torres is a decent player. Okay, he's been good this season. Look, there was a point in the season, like for the early parts, the first 3 months, where he was our most productive attacker, believe it or not. But obviously he got injured, he was out for a while, and then he came back, and he's just been really inconsistent, bro. Look, Ferran has his ups and downs. He's just not a player that I can rely on every single week to give me something. But again, as a guy off the bench, as a good squad player, you keep him on the team. Because, I don't think you're paying him that much anyway. So you keep him on the team as a good backup option, because you obviously always need good options off the bench, and he can play as a striker, he can play as a winger, he can play multiple positions across the front three, obviously. So for that reason, you keep him. But again, if Barca sell him, I'm not going to sit here and cry, I'll be honest with you guys. Next up, we have Joao Felix, who's obviously on loan, so Barca can't sell him. But Barca needs to sell him or give him back to Atletico Madrid. I've seen enough of Joao Felix. He has flashes every now and then, but this guy, to buy him permanently for what, 70 or whatever Atletico Madrid are going to want, like 70 million or 80 million for Joao Felix is a crime, bro. It's been too long now. We can't bet on the potential anymore. We saw him at Atletico Madrid not be great. We saw him at Chelsea last season on loan not be great. And we saw him at Barca this year. His first 2 games, he was fantastic. Took the world by storm against Antwerp and against Betis. But since then, he's been extremely inconsistent, bro. Just really, really inconsistent. And he comes on the pitch sometimes and I forget that he's on there. He just disappears on my screen. He just disappears on my screen, which again, I would keep either Joao Felix or Ferran Torres. Now, I prefer Ferran a little bit just because I think he's a little bit better, honestly. But if you want to keep Joao, you keep Joao. I don't really care. But if you're asking me, I would sell Joao. I would give him back to Pt2 Madrid. Now, if you want to bring him back for 1 more year on loan and have him as a good option off the bench, sure, do that. But to bring him in and pay his wages, like, no, fuck no, bro. Hell no. Like, Joao Felix is just too inconsistent, in my opinion, to be at Barcelona. And yeah, he just really disappointed me this year because he comes on the pitch sometimes and it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, other times he comes on the pitch and you're like, oh my god, it's R9 reincarnated. Like we saw against fucking, what was it? The game that we just played against, what was it? Rayo Vallecano, when he came off and that second Pedri goal was all Joao Felix. I mean, he was weaving in and out. He was like, he just couldn't finish and it falls to Pedri. So you see those moments. You see those moments of brilliance. Like I mentioned, Antwerp and Betis, he was fantastic in both of those games. But it's just not, it's just like, we're not, like, it's no, you can't bet on potential anymore with this guy. And to buy him outright, it would just be stupid business in my opinion. So for me, I'll just give him back to Pt2 Madrid and let them deal with him. Next up is Pedri, who to me is going to go into keep, of course, one of the best midfielders in the world. I mean, there's no reason for me to go into too much depth about Pedri and why we should keep him. If any Barca fans feel like we should sell Pedri, you should revoke your fandom to Barcelona right now because that'd be the stupidest thing of all time. Pedri, I mean, he's a fantastic player. Obviously, he's going to go into keep. Same with Gavi. I mean, we saw how much Barca struggled this year when this guy went off the pitch. Now, I don't agree that the reason why Barca had such a bad season is because Gavi got injured. Because even when Gavi was there, Barca were not playing that well. But Gavi, he's such an engine, bro. He's such an engine for that team. And, you know, these two are going to be the future for Barcelona. Like, they're already obviously amazing players. But as they progress and get, you know, a little bit older, they're going to be even better and better. And I cannot wait to see how these two develop. But yeah, Gavi, he's insane. He is insane. Angry Chihuahua this, angry Chihuahua that. You don't watch Gavi play. If you don't see the value in this guy, you don't watch Gavi play. Or you don't understand football. One or the other. Because he's an amazing player, and yeah, we saw Barca need him, like his work rate, his aggressiveness on the pitch. Like it's just you need this guy on. If you want to win, you need a guy like Gavi on your team. And I'm so happy that Barca have him. So he's of course going to go into keep along with Pedri and also Fermin Lopez, bro. These three guys, it's a no-brainer. We're keeping all three of them. They're insanely good. Fermin Lopez this year has been one of our most productive players, honestly. I mean, this guy scores every time he plays, basically. Every time I watch Fermin Lopez play, he's scoring a goal. And he's a fantastic player, man. I think the way that this kid plays, he's so good at making those runs into the box. He has a great shot on him as well. Sometimes his first touch is a little bit too heavy or just not great, but still that's something he can work on. Obviously, it's not that big of a deal. And I just think he's a great player, bro. There's no reason to sell Fermin Lopez, even loan him out. This guy should be our first midfielder off the bench, along with, you know, if like Gavi or him. Like, they should be our first midfielders off the bench going into next season because he's just that good of a player. So for me, he's 100% going to go into keep. Really no debate about that. These three guys, I don't have to spend too much time with them because we all know we're keeping them no matter what. Next up, we have Vitor Roque, who to me is going to go into keep. Vitor Roque has been massively disrespected by Barca since he got here in January. And now, over the past couple games, I'm happy that Xavi's been playing him a lot more because he deserves it. But man, this guy, I mean, every time I watch him play, I see something with him. I don't know what it is, but I see something with him. Now, he's not scoring every time he comes off the bench. But again, you can't expect a kid who sits like 80 minutes on the bench to come in and just score a goal every single time he comes through. Okay, it's unrealistic, and you know you got to build this kid's confidence. And for me, the fact that Barca want to loan him out, or even like apparently, not even loan him because his agent said that if they loan him out, they're going to sell him permanently. I mean, he's not going to go out on loan. I think it's going to be criminal for Barca to bring this kid in from Brazil, shatter his confidence, and then sell him. Especially when you don't have that great of an option as the other striker. I mean, we're going to get to him obviously a little bit like right now, Romeu and Lewandowski, but still, man, like this kid can do a job for you. He should be the future option at striker for Barcelona. No debate about it, in my opinion. He's a fantastic player. I love Vitor Roque, and to me, we 100% got to keep him. He would be my starting striker going into next season, but again, that's just me. I'm probably in the minority when it comes to that opinion, but I'm a huge Vitor Roque fan, and yeah, bro, the way that we treated him has been extremely disrespectful, but there's no reason why this kid should be wearing any other color that's not red and blue next season. Next up, we have Romeu and Lewandowski. Might be controversial, but you guys know how I feel about Lewa. I'm going to put him in sell. He has moments every now and then, but to me, Lewandowski brings this team down. He's going to win the Pt2 this year. Oh, he's a top goal scorer for Barca. That's great. Watch the games, bro. This guy disappears too much. It's just not good enough anymore. It's just not good enough. I don't want to see this guy on my team anymore. I think Barca could garner a good, he could go for like 20 million maybe to a side league team, and I'd be happy with that. Just sell Lewandowski, man. It's time to move on. Barca, I don't think we're going to win anything significant with Robert Lewandowski at striker. That's just my opinion. I don't like his attitude on the pitch. I don't like the way that he plays at times. Look, he has moments here and there, like against Rayo Vallecano, first half he looked amazing. Against PSG, and that first he looked really, really good, especially his build-up play. But then he has other games like against Mallorca where he looks, or Almeria, sorry, where he looks like terrible. He looks like an old man. He looks like a fucking like a porta potty out on the pitch. Like it's just not good enough. He's too stiff. His first touch is just it's not great. He has those moments of brilliance, obviously, every now and then where he's where he's scoring nice goals, like we saw against Rayo Vallecano, like I said, like scoring that goal from the chest and then balling it in. The goal that he scored against Atletico Madrid back like 2 months back in that game in the Metropolitano, which was a great finish. He has moments of brilliance, obviously, because this guy's still one of the best. Like he's one of the best strikers of his generation or of all time, actually. So that class is permanent. It's never gonna go away. He's gonna have those moments, but consistently, week in and week out, like it's just not good enough, man. It's just really not good enough. In my opinion, at least, I don't think Barca should be like the fact that we want to sell Roque because we feel so comfortable with Lewandowski going into next season as our #1 striker. You know, watching him play every single week to me is extremely stupid. He's just not good enough anymore. And again, people might disagree. People might think I'm a Lewandowski hater, and I very well could be. I don't think I am. I just think I'm speaking facts. And this guy, from August up until like for the first 5 months of the season, he was terrible, man. He was awful, like so bad. It was so hard to watch him play. Apart that, like the one good game that I can remember that he had was the game against Alaves at home. Like that was the one game. But other than that, man, it's just been really not great. I mean, for like this guy's been more bad than good this season. And going back to last season, when like the second half post the World Cup, something happened in post World Cup that he just has not been the same player. So for me, Lewandowski next year, 1 year older, and the wages that he's gonna like the money that he's gonna make, I think there's a clause in his contract that kicks in that if he plays a certain amount of games, he's gonna earn 30 million. It's ridiculous, man. It's a recipe for disaster. You need to learn to move off from players. Real Madrid sold Casemiro. Fucking Casemiro. A club legend. A 4-time UCL winner. They sold him. They sent him to Man United and they brought in Tchouaméni and we saw how that worked out. Tchouaméni is one of the best in the world and Casemiro is quite frankly washed. And Barca, we don't seem to move on from players. And by the way, Lewandowski's not a club fucking legend. We moved on from Messi. We moved on from Suarez. We can't move on from Lewandowski. We owe this guy respect for what, bro? I understand he's a really, really good player, but what does he want at Barca of significance? Spurs to treat him like that. Like, you need to let go of players. And this guy, to me, is just going to hold Barca back. And he gets out, he gets subbed off, and he's bitching and moaning and complaining. It's just no, bro. And his attitude with the young players, always shitting. He's always complaining to Lamine Yamal, always complaining to Fermin, always like turning his head, like rolling his eyes whenever he doesn't get the ball. It's annoying, bro, because there's a lot of times where Lewandowski should pass the ball and he doesn't pass, or he fucks up. And you know what? No one tells him anything. Because he's a senior leader and the veteran of the team. Fuck that. I'm sick of that shit, bro. I don't like that whatsoever. So for me, again, people might think I'm hating on Lewandowski, and I very well could be, but I just don't want to see this guy wear a Barca shirt next season. If he's gonna stay at Barca, either take a wage reduction or don't start him. Just don't start him every single game. That's all I'm asking. That's literally all I'm asking. But yeah, to me, it's just he's not good enough anymore, and I would rather see Vitor Roque get the start next season because I think he's better and he can provide so much more for Barca than Lewandowski can at this age. And the fact that he's a fucking porta potty, just standing in the middle of the pitch, doesn't help. Next up, we have Lamine Yamal. I mean, fucking, what are we doing here, bro? Obviously, we're keeping Lamine Yamal. I wouldn't sell Lamine Yamal for 500 million euros. He's the best youngster in the world, and this guy's going to be a generational talent, one of the 10 best players to ever play this game. So for me, we're keeping Lamine Yamal. I don't care how much any team offers, you keep him no matter what. Pau Cubarsí, obviously you keep Pau Cubarsí, a kid who came into the first team in January and has not lost his starting spot since then. At 17 years old. I mean, what can you even say about Pau Cubarsí? What can you say about Pau Cubarsí and Lamine Yamal, who single-handedly basically saved Barca's season? If it wasn't for these two guys, we'd be battling relegation. Honestly, we would. Fantastic, both of them. So for me, 100% is going to go. Both of them are going to go into Kiev. But everybody already knew that. Similar to Fermin, Gavi, and Pedri. I mean, anybody think we should sell Lamine Yamal or Pau Cubarsí, you're not an actual Barca fan. Next up, we have İlkay Gundogan, who to me is going to go into Kiev. Similar to Lewandowski, Gundogan's also like older. But unlike Lewandowski, he's still really, really good and one of the best in the world at his position. That's what İlkay Gundogan is. This guy joined us on a free from Man City, and I feel sorry for him because this season has probably not been easy on him, getting used to winning all those titles at City, now coming to Barca and going trophyless. But this guy's been, dare I say, our best player this whole season. I mean, he's still amazing, bro. And I want to see him at Barca next year. He should be a starter for Barca next year. When I did my Barca ideal starting 11 a couple weeks back, he was obviously my starting center mid. That position is locked in for him because his veteran leadership and his intelligence, his IQ, everything about this guy, the way he controls tempos of games, the way he can get his teammates involved. I mean, I think he has a great presence for the young players like Fermin, like Gavi, and Pedri. So you 100% keep Gundogan. After this season, we'll see what happens. I don't know when his contract runs out, actually. I think it's actually after next season. I'm not sure. But still, after that, then maybe you can look to see if you want to get rid of him or if he wants to leave. But for now, there's no reason to sell İlkay Gundogan, who, like I said, was your best player this year. And consistently your best player. It's not like he fell off. He had like a dark period. No, he's been amazing, basically. I think Gundogan, off the top of my head, I can think of maybe one bad game that he's had this whole year. So for me, he's 100% going to go into Kiev. Yeah, no debate about that. The next player we have here is our goalkeeper, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, who to me is going to go into keep. I don't see that, like, Barca fans, I don't know why they want to sell ter Stegen. I really don't get it. Like, Frankie de Jong, Rafinha, and ter Stegen are three guys that Barca fans constantly want to sell, and I don't see why. What's the motivation to sell ter Stegen? I don't get it, bro. He's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Now, if you have a good backup plan to bring in if you want to sell ter Stegen, like if a Saudi League team comes in with a hefty fee and you want to sell him, and you say we're going to bring in Dibu Martinez, sure. But to sell ter Stegen and go into next season with who? Iñaki Peña, we saw that's not good enough, man. Barca, we'll get relegated if we go into next season with Iñaki Peña as our backup goalkeeper. We don't have Lunin and Courtois. We just don't have that. And I think ter Stegen, like I said, he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. The shot stopping is still really, really good, and he can still play out from the back. And he's coming off like last season having the best season of his career, arguably. Last year, everybody wants to talk about Barca's defense and our defensive record, which was obviously great, but a lot of that was just ter Stegen saving us on one-on-ones. It was a lot of that. And like I said, we saw this team with a backup keeper this year, and it just wasn't good enough. He might win the Zamora trophy this year. Ter Stegen might. I think he's kept 15 clean sheets in the league. And he missed a bunch of time. Like I said, he missed like 2 or 3 months. So again, for me, I know people like to call him Ter Saddam, which is really, really funny, but still, bro, there's no reason to sell ter Stegen this season. Now, next season, sure. If he has a shaky year, you sell him, you get rid of him because he is getting older. But still, right now, he should be our goalkeeper going into next season because, like I said, he's still one of the best in the world. And the goalkeeper market in football is really not that. It's not a market that you can just go out. Like, there's not many goalkeepers out there that are great that are just for the picking. That teams are just selling. So for me, yeah, you keep ter Stegen 100%. I don't see why we'd want to sell him. But again, I think I'm in the minority when it comes to that. Next up, we have Oriol Romeu. I want to go ahead and apologize to Oriol Romeu's mom for what I'm about to say about your son. But he fucking sucks. He's got to be sold. I'm sorry, bro. He's terrible. Oh my God, he's one of the worst footballers I've ever seen at Barcelona. I'm not even joking. When this guy came over from Girona, I was actually kind of optimistic about him. I wasn't really happy, but I was optimistic that he could do a job. God, man, he did a job like he did a bad job. That's what he did. He did a job, but a bad job. This guy's terrible, man. I don't understand. Like, honestly, it looks like he has 2 left feet. He's just, like, he started off well, and then it just went to shit. It just really went to shit. Like, he fucked us over so many times, bro. He's so bad under pressure. He can't receive with this back to goal. He can't do anything, bro. He can't defend. He can't pass. He's so stiff on the ball. I mean, this guy, oh my God. I feel like Stephen A. Smith talking about Kwame Brown. He's got small hands. He doesn't have a jump shot. That's how I feel talking about Oriol Romeu. But he's just not good enough, bro. Oh my God. And yeah, Barca needs to sell him. Luckily, we already have a backup option in Guido Rodriguez, who's going to come in, obviously, next season. But yeah, Romeu has to 100% be sold this summer. No doubt about it. Next up, we have Marcos Alonso, who should also be sold. He's a murderer and a shitty person, and I don't understand why this guy spent another year at Barca. I don't even know why we brought him in the first place. Marcos Alonso was washed back in 2019. He's definitely not good enough now. Like I said, he's a shitty human being, and he's disgusting, and I'm happy he's leaving. I think it's confirmed that he's leaving now. So yeah, good for him. He's leaving, which, you know, he should have done. Like, he should have never come in the first place, honestly. So yeah, I'm happy that Marcos Alonso's leaving. Good riddance. He will not be missed by anybody. Next up, we have Sergio Roberto, who's actually going to re-sign with Barca because Xavi loves him so much. We'll see if Xavi ends up staying or leaving, if Sergio Roberto stays, if the new manager wants him to renew. But as of right now, he's coming back for 1 more year, and I'm not a fan of that. I want to sell Sergio Roberto. He's not good enough for Barca anymore. I've said this 1,000 times. If you guys watch my video, you're probably saying it out loud as I'm saying this right now. Sergio Roberto was not good enough for Barca 5 years ago. He's not good enough for Barca right now. He's just not good enough of a player, in my opinion. He needs to be sold. Enough of this shit. Enough of trying to hold on to the older players. We let go of Busquets. We let go of Messi. We let go of Piqué. We let go of Jordi Alba. You gotta let go of Sergio Roberto, who's just not good enough anymore to be a Barcelona player. That's a fact. It is a fact. He can't do a job at right back. He can't do a job in the midfield. He can come in sometimes and do something, but most of the time he's just not good enough. Squad player this, squad player that, no. Give that position to someone who's earned it, or someone who's better, an up-and-coming kid. Bring up Casado from Barca B and get rid of Sergio Roberto. The fact that Barca want to prioritize bringing this guy back to me is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, and it shows the issues with this team at the moment. Sergio Roberto needs to be sold. No doubt about it, in my opinion. People might think I'm being harsh to a club legend. I don't think he's a club legend, first of all. But yeah, for me, he's going to go into sell. Next up, we have Íñigo Martínez, who to me is going to go into keep. I think Íñigo's had a solid season. I think second half of the season, he's kind of tailed off a little bit. But the first half, he was a really good, valuable backup option, in my opinion. So for me, I don't see why you would sell Íñigo, who I still think, like I said, is a really, really good player. And as a backup, man, you could always use backups, obviously. In Barca, obviously, most teams, like not just Barca, but teams in general, deal with a lot of injuries. And Barca this year, obviously, we saw with our injuries, Secunde and even Christensen and Araujo, we needed some backup options. And Inigo came in and did a decent job. So for me, the fact that we got this kind of free, you know, if a team wants to offer like 15 or 20 million for him, maybe you look to sell him and get that profit. But, you know, just to sell him, it doesn't make any sense to me. It'd be like, it's the same way I felt about Kessie. Why sell Kessie when you don't need to sell Kessie? You know, why sell Inigo when you don't need to sell Inigo, who can just do a job for you at center back whenever you need him to, and can do a really good job at that. Again, he's not been as great the second half of the year, but still, he's not been terrible either. So for me, I would 100% keep Inigo, no doubt about it. Next up, we have Ronald Araujo, who to me is, of course, going to go into keep. Araujo has been linked to Aston Villa over the past couple of days, but apparently it came out today that Aston Villa aren't actually interested in him. We know he was linked to Bayern Munich a couple months back. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel really wanted him, but now we know that Tuchel is leaving Bayern Munich, so I'm not sure if that's still the case. But anyway, bro, there's no reason to sell Ronald Araujo. I understand they didn't have his best season, obviously, had a lot of dark periods this year, most notably the red card against PSG, which really cost Barca that game and that tie, let's be honest here. If Ronald Araujo doesn't get sent off in that game, Barca are UCL semifinalists, and I think I would be sitting here saying that Barca are UCL finalists if that doesn't happen with Araujo. And overall, he had a lot of ups and downs this year, but this guy still shows that he's one of the best center backs in the world, man. When Barca were going through their best period of the season, winning all those games, you know, beating Napoli, beating Atletico Madrid, beating PSG in that first leg, it was largely because of Araujo and his contribution. So to me, this guy's going to be a future captain for Barcelona, a leader on and off the pitch. There is no fucking reason why you should ever consider selling a talent like Ronald Araujo, who is, like I said one more time, one of the best center backs in the world. And yeah, to me, all the Barca fans that shit on this guy, look, I still resent him a little bit, even me, because of what happened against PSG, but I mean, this guy has done way more than good than bad for Barcelona. So for me, he's 100% going to go into keep. I don't like that whole like back and forth he had with Gundogan either. I thought he showed immaturity. But again, it doesn't matter because on the pitch, he's still fantastic. And off the pitch, that was really his only slip-up ever in a Barca shirt. So for me, 100% going to put it out and keep. Next up, we have Alejandro Valde, who to me, of course, is going to go into keep. There were some reports that came out today that apparently Barca are willing to hear offers for Valde. That to me is stupid. Valde, again, when he was healthy this year, he got injured in like January or like, yeah, late January. When he was playing, like those 5 months that he played, he wasn't great. Let's be honest, he was probably our most disappointing player this whole season. But again, he's still really, really talented. He's a very, very talented player. And for me, there's a guy who you got to keep. 100% you have to keep Alejandro Valde. There's no reason to sell him, especially because Barca's fullback depth is really not that great. I mean, who are you going to play at left back if it's not him? Hector Ford, who's still really, really young. For me, Valde is a fantastic player. Showed it last year, was one of the best fullbacks in world football when Barca obviously won the league. And I think he's going to come back next year with a vengeance. I think he's going to come back next year from his injury with a vengeance and just prove to everybody that what we saw last year was the anomaly. That was like his bad year. But what we saw the first year, like his first year as a starter, was it's what he is as a player. So for me, again, you keep Valde, who's also like he's really, really good defensively too. Going forward, his crossing especially needs a little working on, but I'm sure that will come with age and obviously more experience. But yeah, to me, you're gonna keep Valde. And then lastly, Joao Cancelo. It's tough, man, because if you can bring him in on loan for one more year, I would bring him in. If I had to pick between Joao Cancelo and Joao Felix, I would pick Joao Cancelo 1,000 times. But I don't like what I've been seeing from him, bro. So I'm going to put him in sell. And again, I don't know. If Barca can get another maybe backup left back, because Barca's fullback options are really not that deep. That's the only reason why I consider keeping Cancelo. Why I would consider keeping Cancelo, but loaning him out. Like buying him is not an option in my opinion. Either loan him, bring him in on loan for one more year, or sell him. But again, for me, what I saw from this guy towards the latter end of the season was just unacceptable, bro. It was unacceptable. He cost us that. He was didn't cost us. That was mostly at home, but he was terrible against PSG. Gave away that penalty. Got caught out looking. Got exposed in the far post with that cross. That Dembele was obviously right there. Happened the same thing happened in the Clásico. Like what, a week, like 4 days later, for Madrid's first goal. I'm pretty sure his second goal. Like defensively, he's not great, and also the last few months of the season, he wasn't good going forward either. So obviously, that's not great because with a guy like Cancelo, you take you give up some of the defensive qualities, or basically all the defensive qualities, because he's so good going forward. He's so elite at that. But when you're not good going forward and not good defensively, it's just not good enough, man. And again, I don't know if Barca should bring this guy back. If I were Barca, I would let him go and see if you can get some other left back on the market for a cheap price and who can come in and do a job as a backup. But to keep Cancelo when he just hasn't been good enough over the past couple months. I mean, he had a good stretches this year against Celta Vigo. He saved us in that game, and he was really, really good for the majority of the season for us. Honestly, I'm not trying to act like Cancelo has been shit the whole year, but what I saw from him recently in like the most important part of the season, it just didn't make me comfortable. So for that reason, I would look to just like if you can loan him in for one more year, again, I would do that. But if you can't, if Man City are only looking for you to buy him, then you let him go back to City and you just don't bother with this guy because again, it's just not worth it in my opinion. And that, guys, is the end of the video. That is the finished tier list. Like I said, whatever you guys agree or disagree with, please let me know in the comments section down below. I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace out.